Welcome to Modern Man Academy, the YouTube channel devoted to helping 16 to 25-year-old men everywhere. Men of all ages are constantly criticizing for not understanding our emotions. I've often joked with women that we do understand our emotions, but we get by with only having 4 of them: feeling hungry, angry, tired, and horny. I say we men are simple creatures. We don't need any more than 4. Okay, that's not true. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how a large proportion of men have what I call emotional flatulence, or why men fart emotionally. And if you're a young guy, why it's worth gaining a better understanding of what so often happens in the lead up to an emotional fart, and what we can do about not having so many of them and suffering the negative consequences of them. So what is an emotional fart? Well, in the same way that certain foods, for example cabbage, which is particularly guilty, they often lead to emissions of unwanted gas. We are all constantly feeding our minds with so many unhelpful thoughts that it's only a matter of time before there's an inevitable and unwanted reaction, namely an emotional fart. Now, these recurring unhelpful thoughts often ferment and stew inside until one day they can't be contained any longer. You might lose your temper over something seemingly insignificant. Perhaps you speak harshly and later wish you could unsay whatever you blurted out. But you can't, can you? When we men keep so many of our emotions bottled up, often because we really don't understand them as well as a lot of women, we often explode in this way, which seemingly comes out of nowhere for innocent bystanders. But they leave a terrible stink to everyone around us, whether that's at home or in the workplace. I remember years ago my then wife telling me what I was feeling and me thinking, how can she know this? You're talking rubbish. But you know what? In so many cases she turned out to be totally correct. She knew what I was feeling before I did, and it took me many years to gain a better understanding of how I felt before anyone else did. Being more self-aware about my emotions was a massive help, and it can be life-changing for you too, but only if you're prepared to think about it more for yourself. Now, let me ask you a few questions to think about. Would you be prepared to accept that genuinely happy, calm and relaxed people don't suffer from emotional farts? They don't scream and shout or have tantrums. They're not difficult or demanding. They don't whinge or complain. Why is that, do you think? Could it be that their emotional state is in complete harmony with their surroundings? They tend to be emotionally stable and are quietly confident that they can cope with whatever life throws at them. They view life as it is, rather than being obsessed with the better way it should be. People with this type of emotional balance are highly appealing to others because they value themselves. They also tend to brighten a room when they walk in rather than when they leave. But is it possible to adopt and absorb these qualities? Well, I believe it is, and becoming more self-aware is the first step. Recognizing the triggers that set you off a lot earlier by learning how not to be an exploding pressure cooker can be a hugely valuable, long-lasting life skill. To start that process, let me introduce you to what I call your emotional core. If you work out, you'll know about your physical core, the collection of deep pelvic muscles inside and around the trunk. Now, this core provides inner physical strength, protecting us from injury and providing physical stability. For example, strengthening this core is a key element of Pilates exercises. In much the same way as your physical core protects and strengthens you physically, I believe a strong emotional core can provide inner emotional strength and protection too. Think of the emotional core as a deep protective coating around your heart and soul. Emotions can be so uplifting, yet the same power and intensity can cause untold pain and anguish, attacking our hearts and souls like a cancer. Avoiding those smelly emotional farts will make you a more appealing person to those around you. The emotional core components are self-esteem, attitude, happiness, as well as kindness combined with compassion. Check out the videos here on Modern Man Academy on each of those topics and see how they all get linked together. So, Why these qualities and not any others? Well, you're free to choose alternatives. However, here's the rationale for choosing those emotional muscles. When you improve your self-esteem, you feel more at ease with who you are. By accepting yourself, you become less needy of others. Moving from a low self-esteem to a healthy one, your self-confidence also improves. When you start exhibiting a natural sense of quiet self-confidence, you become more appealing to those around you. And once you've improved your attitude to yourself, this will improve the attitude you exhibit to those you live and work with. Others will almost certainly respond to you more positively. This, in turn, contributes to your sense of well-being. It also reduces your stress. This, in turn, makes you a calmer and more relaxed person. This increases the likelihood that even more people will respond better to you. The combination of an improved attitude towards yourself and others, as well as improved self-esteem, increases the likelihood that you'll start to feel happier in yourself. By working on improving your happiness even further by adopting simple yet effective happiness strategies, this again strengthens your entire emotional core. Each one feeds and nourishes the others. When you develop your emotional core, fears and insecurity will melt away. They won't necessarily disappear completely, but you'll no longer feel overwhelmed by them. And they're all authentic and genuine qualities that become a part of the real you. There's no faking involved. The advantages to you and to everyone else you come into contact with had the potential to be monumental and long-lasting. The more you attract other people, the more you'll realize that the improvements you've made have had a direct contribution to the way others think of you. Your newfound qualities will almost certainly encourage more of your friends and acquaintances to mention you to those they know. They might say, "I know just the person you need to meet," and they're single at the moment. But without strengthening each of these emotional muscles, we all run the risk of pushing people away unnecessarily and not knowing why. Negative emotions such as low self-esteem, insecurity, neediness, depression or unhappiness will sneak out eventually, and they routinely show up in the form of anger, distress, resentment, bitterness, extreme negativity and even jealousy. In some cases, their outbursts also include physical violence, and men are not the only perpetrators of domestic violence. But as a young man, if we allow all these hurt or frustrations to stay bottled up for a long time, they will explode externally in the form of emotional farts. And there are the men and women who've learned to contain their emotions. They've learned to deal with it by imploding. It's a bit like a cartoon character that swallows a stick of dynamite. The dynamite goes off and blows up the character into the size of a large ball before returning to its original shape. They open their mouth and a small whiff of smoke completes the comedic effect. The only problem with this solution in real life is that it never tackles the root cause of the suffering. And each time they get upset for whatever reason, the latest suffering gets added to their collection of hurts. We all have our own ways of coping when we're stressed or upset, but taking it out on those closest to us is really going to make you more appealing to those people. A stronger emotional foundation can and will protect you. It provides you with more emotional stability, flexibility, and an inner strength. And when you know deep down that you have a strong emotional core, those resources will help you cope with everything that life throws at you, and fewer emotional farts. Please like and subscribe to this channel for more insights about how to be a higher quality man. Have a great day.